Knock, knock, who's there? It's me, and I'm not happy about it. Kind of in a bad mood. RuneScape is kind of in a weird spot right now. We have just finished a very hyped up and exciting league in which a lot of people enjoyed for 3 to 8 business days. And then a lot of people grinded out to get a trophy that will collect dust in their bank. Neither here nor there. I enjoyed leagues, had a great time. But we're now in a very strange spot when it comes to upcoming content and direction of old school as a whole. And this video is just going to cover some thoughts that I have on that, scratching the surface a bit. I don't want to take too much time, but I know this video will probably end up being longer than anticipated, but whatever. You can look at the timestamps if you want to hop to the subject that you like listening to. Before we get into that, drop a sub. If you want to subscribe to more content like that, you definitely should. And then like and comment, whatever. Okay, what are we starting with, guys? Like, the updates that Jigglyplex has been dropping in is insane. The survey that they had the audacity to release, where they're talking about, do you want ads in the game? Do you want your membership price to go up, but you get player support? Like, stuff like that was just, what are you, like, how out of touch with the community did you have to be? And they were clearly way out of touch, because they had no idea how poorly that was going to backfire. I don't know. It's just that was sad. You've all seen the videos on it. We're moving on. What the next thing is, there's a new boss coming out shortly after this video is released, and this boss has some very lukewarm rewards. It is completely aimed at mid-game Ironmen to flesh out the reward space for that. But then there's also another boss coming out, an end game boss. This is going to be a Doom of Mokali Hodely Bodle or something like that. And the rewards for this, they have failed to come up with good rewards. They have gone back to the drawing board once already. I imagine they're going back for a second time. But guess what? They're just going to give up and just pull one of the rewards. And as we all know, everything passes a poll. So these are coming to the game. They are not willing to just scrap everything and go back to the drawing board. I will be shocked if they do that. But as it stands right now, I think overall Jagex is running out of ideas for new boss rewards. Just new rewards for the game. We've gotten to the point where they've power creeped with such pointless updates. Why did the Alchemical Hydra need Ferocious Gloves with it? There was nothing wrong with Barrow's Gloves at that point. And why are you putting Ferocious Gloves with a Dragon Hunter Lance as a drop? Imagine Huey Codal drops a Dragon Hunter wand and it drops Zarite Vambraces for some reason. Like, they just suck at making new rewards. Nightmare had like 12 new items coming from it. They could have had, so you have multiple new bosses. One of them drops the Nightmare Staff and the Orbs. Another one drops the 3 pieces of Inquisitor's Armor. Another one drops an Inquisitor's Mace or an equivalent of something like that, like a Crush one-handed mace. But they just shoehorn everything into one update, and then they run out of ideas for future bosses. The power has been increased in-game to the point where they can't go further. They hesitate to split main game rewards from PvP rewards. And what I mean by that is, if they put a Void Waker in the game, it has to be balanced for PvP and for PvM. They're not willing to have those have separate stats in the wilderness. It gets too complicated. So we're just kind of stuck, and they keep putting these new ideas of like, oh, let's explore Demon Bane as a concept, or let's explore all these different things. And bank spaces are going up. Everyone's going to have 16 different sets of armor, and you're gonna try and carry 14 different weapons with you for each individual niche use. And then it's just, I don't know. They're running out of ideas for awards. That part is a little bit scary to me. The next thing that we've all known about, it's annoying, but the repeated glitches, the lack of testing for different things, the League's rewards. They just released the League's rewards, and if you tried to do anything related to the League's rewards, some of them worked and others didn't. The fact that some of them do not work on release shows that they literally have not tested stuff. Rather than going into this and dumping on it, here's my idea for a solution. You have certain worlds in the World Switcher that are like just you can see these worlds. Let's say it's world 600. This world is like a testing world. Maybe you do 600, 601, 602. Do you know how many people would sign up to help with your testing beta? You launch these worlds with the update, and those are the only worlds that can be logged into for, I don't know, 10 minutes, half an hour. You get people in those servers that have played the game for ages. They're just regular people, and they test for you. You get like 1,000 people. So many people would be willing to do that. Give them a free 14-day subscription or something, and just let them mess around and see if they can find a bug. And if everything's good, you launch the update to the rest of the players. It's already put into the main game, but the only worlds that can be logged into are those 3, and then there's only select players that can log into those worlds. They've already done it with the Gilnor Games worlds. Like, we saw it on here, and it's locked to certain people. Just launch your updates live. There's a difference between the test environment that they work with and the live environment, and that's where the problem is. I think they only test in test, and then when stuff goes to the production environment, the live environment, they're like shocked when stuff is broken. Here's an example. This update came earlier this week. We have a new emote called the sit down emote. Very cool. It's good. My feet are gone. You can kind of see my foot through the back of my hand here. Oh, there it is there. Like, how hard would it have been to have tested, does this work? Why is my cape poking through the back and clipping through the ground? It's a great idea. But here, check this out. If I put demon feet on, oh, it works. If you had a piece of update, like an update like this, this is what I would do. You know this is an emote, and in the past, emotes cause clipping and stuff like that. Just put someone on it for 8 hours a day to test every combination of gear that they can think of. Common ones, things like, oh, let's try every set of boots in the game to see, do the boots show up like in front of my leg how they're supposed to, or do they just disappear where I don't have feet? Now look at this. How, like, oh, ancestral robe bottoms, big deal. No, like, what is this? Look at that. Clearly not tested. Like, I don't know what else. How else does this come into the game? I just don't think it's tested. I think their testing is just embarrassingly bad. You should be batting at like a 99% average if you're a company of this size with updates coming in having minor bugs. The only bugs that should be found are the ones that are like brute forced in by hundreds of thousands of players testing like millions of combinations of gear and whatever else. It's just like the first thing you do, you come into the game and the league's rewards have just been posted and the Virtus Hood has no stats. Or you try and teleport with your max cape, they added a new teleport menu and it teleports you to the wrong spot. Like, there's no way that it worked in their test environment, and then as soon as they migrate to the main game, it just doesn't work. And if that's the case, then you need to figure out what's going on with your test environment. Drop a comment so far. How we doing? We got one last topic here. This one I'm passionate about. Like, most people just don't care, and they just, like, sleep when they see an update like this, and they're like, whatever. It's not a big deal. But, like, what is going on with the collection log tiers? They've just added in these staff of collection, right? And it's very cool. You can see the new overview for people. I've got 829 collection log slots. I've gotten a couple of cool items. Metamorphic Dust, I actually just got that the other night. Very sweet. And the orange egg sack, I bought some grubby keys to grab that. Now, this is awesome. Great update. The actual staff and the tiers that they've done for this, this is what we're looking at. If you get 100 collection logs, you get 100. What? Bronze. I don't know why I read the 100 twice. If you have 100 collection logs, you get bronze. 300 is iron, so that's a 200 gap. Keep that in mind. 500 is steel. 700 is black. 900 is mithril. And then you go from 900 to 1,000. So that's the first gap of 100. And at 1,000, you get adamant. At 1,100, which is another gap of 100, you get rune. 1,200, you get dragon. And then 200 later, at the hardest part of the game, it is so hard to get collection log slots when you have 1,200 of them already. That's when you go back to the 200 gap. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? And guess what? That 1,400 is only going to go up. because every time they add more collection slots, eventually it goes percentage-wise. It'll be 90% of the total amount. So that will go up to 1425 and then 1450 eventually. Could we please change these to be something like this? Have everything at an interval of 100. It just makes sense. Bronze, iron, steel, black, mithril, addy, rune. Add in granite, because that's, you know, we're following the theme here of armor. Like, we've got different tiers of armor. Bronze, iron, steel, black. They left out white because it's on the same tier as black. I get that. Mithril. You've got other ones like proselyte, whatever. Adamant. You've got inquisitors. You've got some other things like that. Like, so far so good. Rune. Okay. And then we have granite at 50. So add granite. And then you've got obsidian at 60. And then you also have dragon at 60. What I don't like about this the most is that if you have 1,000 collection log slots, that's so many. That's a lot. You have an adamant tier book. Like, what? Why am I getting a tier 30 at that point? And then the counter argument might be, oh, it's pretty easy to get 1,000. Like, oh, it's only going to get easier as time goes along. Do you know how many people have this right now? Look how many people are at 900. 900 is a mithril staff, a tier 20 armor or tier 20 weapon. There's 4,900 people in the entire game that have this. And for 1,000, it's even worse at 2,800. Only 2,800 people have gotten the adamant book. Adamant! Why are we doing tiers like this? Can we not spread these tiers out to just make more sense? After you get to 1,000, 1,000 being dragon is just iconic. It's dragon. Like, dragon's so cool. It's like, look how good dragon would look with my current gear right now. I've got this whole dragon kind of outfit here. We got the demon boots. Like, oh yeah. No, I've played this game for 400 days and I have 829 slots. When I get to 900, I now get a mithril book. Like, it's just so stupid. I don't know. So that's what I think for these tiers. You can go Bandosian. The other ones I was thinking about is once you get past Dragon, maybe you go off the board a little bit, and you do, like, as I was saying, Bandosian is tier 65 armor. I don't think you want to do Third Age because it will look like a piece of Third Age. Maybe that devalues some, like, the Third Age staff. It's just kind of confusing. So Bandosian, I'm happy with Ancestral. I'm happy if they go off the board and they say, like, Venomous, and it's just like a black and green book. And then maybe the one after that is like Zarosian and it's black and purple, and then whatever. But Crystal makes sense. Twisted could make sense. There's all kinds of options in here. I was thinking Justiciar would make sense. Yeah, I just think the way it's currently laid out is very not smart, and just, I don't like it. Why was this what we decided on? It's just dumb. It's just stupidity. I think there's just someone working over there is a little out of touch with what things should be. And I gave this feedback on Twitter, and I don't know where else to put it, but I voted no and all that stuff, and that's what it is. Like, our poll questions that we get, now this is going to take me a while to actually find our poll. So view history. For example, our poll questions that we get now is they're very, a lot of them are vague. Like, what can we please go further with our poll questions? So let's go to the Royal Titan rewards, for example. So Chivalry fails the blog. The untradeable Deadeye and Mystic Vigor pass the blog. You could have had those split into two different things. I get that. The Twin Flame Staff passed with flying colors. I don't know why. That thing is, like, barely good. It says with the staff that it only uses up to blood runes. It can't use wrath runes. It's got a weird use case. Maybe they're adding a boss in the future where this is beneficial. It's going to be decent at the Royal Titans, probably. But just, like, for some of these rewards, like, we're currently dealing with the failure of the Doom of Mokihoidal rewards. Like, let us vote on multiple options for things. If you have the Royal Titans coming out and you're like, okay, do you want new prayers? Or do you want a new staff, or do you want both? Or do you want to just go down a different avenue? Maybe we do a melee weapon. Maybe you do a range weapon. Like, I think it would be cool for them to start polling us in-game. Not these, like, side surveys and whatever else. Poll us in-game. Like, what do you want to see next? What are your ideas for things? For this collection log update, I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure it was just, do you want the collection log blog added to the game as described in the blog? Like, the whole thing. Like, why can't we vote on tiers and, like, at what level does black sit at? I have a tier 10 armor at 829 collection logs and, like, 400 days played. I'm maxed, etc., etc. I can go open 1,000 clue scrolls and get that rank up to finally be able to use my adamant book or whatever, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't know, if I'm on tier of the, like, black, that should be something that you get when you're basically wearing black in game. Like, when you're way earlier, I mean, 400's a lot, so that doesn't still match up, but that's kind of where I'm going with it. Enough rambling. Hope you enjoyed. Check out some other videos where I talk about stuff. I was kind of heated on this one. I was very heated about forestry, and that's been an absolute fustercluck. Not been good, and I still don't enjoy it. It's a minigame. It shouldn't be in the overworld. That was where my stance was with that. There's been so many glitches and bugs, and they're still trying to patch it. We've had like 18 forestry updates because of that update being so bad. So with stuff like this, I feel like I have a leg to stand on. I'm not just aimlessly ranting and saying I hate Jagex, I hate the Jmods and whatever else. There's some extremely talented people that work for Jagex. I just think, like, we've got so many passionate players such as myself. Like, just let us help with, like, more. Let us even be more collaborative with certain things. Like, let us test your updates before they go live into the game, and then there's just constant glitches. Let us come up with new boss rewards. Like, have a competition. Who can come up with the coolest reward for this thing? Pick the top 10, make us vote which of these 10 rewards do you want as the staple reward for the new boss. Like, what is the number one thing? Like, raids was the twisted bow. Like, let us come up with raids 4 rewards now and then start building the raid. I don't know. This is it's a good video. Hope you enjoyed. Comment, everything. I already said this 16 times.